Hi, and welcome to the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley. Brooke is out. Matthew Rocchio is here, though. I'm Randy Karraker. Great to have you with us on STL Sports Central, and we are presented by our friends at DraftKings, where the crown is yours. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Kylee Hansen. She's down in Atlanta with Mizzou, and the head coach of the Tigers, Eli Drinkwitz, spoke to the media this morning, also spoke to St. Louis Sports Central exclusively, so we will have the opportunity to talk to Kylee. The Cardinals get back in action tomorrow night. They'll take on the Diamondbacks in their first series after the All-Star break, the opener of a 3-game series. And Matthew and I are going to give you our biggest surprises and disappointments and what we want to see in the second half as we roll through this first half hour of the Randy Karraker Show. Mr. Rocchio, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Randy. How are you, sir?
Good. He was just on the radio doing radio stuff and then comes over here and does podcast stuff at STL Sports Central.
We're going to have some fun today.
We are.
We got another MEGAMIND minigame.
Oh, looking forward to that, too.
Yes.
That'll
be a good
fun.
one. I think this is going to be a good one because like all the best ones, I've gotten all 4 sports in to one little game. So NBA, MLB, NHL, and NFL all in one little trivia game that we're going to play a little bit later.
Looking forward to that. Okay, so the Cardinals will start the second half, and they'll do so with 51 wins. They'll do so within a game and a half of the wild card in the National League. Yeah, that's all good. And by the way, we want you to weigh in here. Your biggest surprise, your biggest disappointment, one thing you want to see in the second half, and will Ivan Herrera be the second half MVP like he was in the first half? And my biggest surprise is Ivan Herrera being the Cardinals' best hitter. I could have given you Mason Winn. I could have given you Arenado. I could have given you Wilson Contreras. I even could have given you Lars Nootbaar based upon his StatCast performance. But without question, the Cardinals' best hitter in the first half of the season was Ivan Herrera, and he is their best hitter now. Leads them in average among regulars, leads them in OPS among regulars. His home runs per at-bat is the best on the team. His walk rate is almost 10%. And he has become a legitimate big league designated hitter. Next year, you might see him in the outfield. Doubtful that you'll see him anymore behind the plate because of the hamstring. So he's going to be the designated hitter. And I would be surprised, Matthew, if he wasn't the best hitter on the Cardinals again in the second half of the season. We'll get to that question in a moment. But Ivan Herrera is my biggest surprise, his offense.
That's fair. I'll take the Ivan Herrera surprise because I don't think anyone would have predicted he would be your best hitter before the season. That's a better answer than my answer. I'm just going to have to admit that right now. Randy, you have a better answer than mine because my answer was going to be Matthew Liberatore. And it's for me, it's only because I just think if you laid out what his season has been and you gave that to everybody in November at the end of last season, I think that would be pretty surprising to a lot of people. At the same time, although this is what I'm saying, you're correct. You have the right answer. I'll take the silver on this one. I heard an Olympian say the other day, you win the gold, you lose the gold, or you win the bronze. So I didn't win the silver, but I lost the gold, but I'll take that. And I think if we had to give a bronze medal out there, because I'd say, Ivan Herrera's hitting would be number 1. Matthew Liberatore would be number 2. And then Jimmy the Cat Hayes over on Lou Information Station brought this one up. This is a good one. We should not forget about that. Your favorite Irishman becoming an absolutely dominant bullpen piece.
Riley O'Brien?
That might be the winner of the bronze medal. Riley O'Brien going from being maybe the 12th or 13th guy out of the bullpen last year to now being one of your most effective pieces at certain times this season. That's a pretty big piece.
That is. Another one for me is and I know that a lot of you aren't surprised by the remarkable consistency of Sonny Gray, but at this stage of his career, Cardinals are 15-4 in his 19 starts. The other people that have started games are the Cardinals are 36-42. So 15-4 when he starts, and then 36-42 when somebody else starts. He is the most valuable pitcher on this team, and I really like the way that Oli Marmol and the pitching coach, Dusty Blake, they have deployed him. They've given him enough rest so that I think we can reasonably expect up until the All-Star break and maybe even through August that he'll be effective. So my 1B surprise would actually be Sonny Gray being far and away the best starter on the team.
Yeah, Hockey Dad Don dove in on that. I'm expecting big things from Sonny Gray. He should have a monster second half. Honestly, that's got to be one of the biggest things we're thinking about here in the second half of the season, because we've talked exhaustively about Sonny Gray and his predilections and how the weather affects him. And we get into the dog days, and obviously, as it always has been, the dog days in St. Louis, especially hot and humid and problematic throughout August. So I'm with you, Hockey Dad Don. I don't know if I should say I'm expecting big things from Sonny. I would saying if we had a category of like whose second half is most indicative to the Cardinals' success, that's would be my answer, would be Sonny Gray. I think you could also maybe argue a hitter in that as well, but that's my thoughts on Sonny, because yeah, he was incredible. But I mean, he is your 1A. He's supposed to be your stopper. So him doing that, I don't think surpasses any of the other players in kind of surprising us in what they did this season. But it would be, you could argue maybe Sonny Gray is second in the first half MVP voting behind Ivan Herrera. That may be where we start talking about the unbelievable play of Sonny Gray is, although, neither of those guys are the all-star. So maybe Brendan Donovan should be top 3 in that as well. Brendan Donovan, Ivan Herrera,
but he's not a
Sonny
surprise.
Gray. I'm talking about if we because we all agree Ivan Herrera is first half MVP. I'm saying who else would be in that discussion? Sonny Gray, Brendan Donovan, and I think that'd be it.
Gray, Brendan Donovan. Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah. All right. Biggest disappointment. What's the most important ability in sports?
Availability.
There you go. I am disappointed by Jordan Walker. And I think, first of all, I know a lot of you thought that he was a lost cause before the season even started. And he's given the runway. And all of a sudden, at the end of May, he gets hurt with the wrist injury. And then almost immediately after that, he has the issue with appendicitis. And for me, that's the biggest disappointment. Not the performance. And by the way, 210 with 3 home runs isn't what you want out of anybody, but certainly not a guy who was the best prospect on your team for several years. But for me, I'm disappointed that he wasn't able and hasn't been able to take advantage of the runway, and that opportunity may have passed him by because the Cardinals are in the race.
Yeah, that's been a huge problem, and that's I think the easy answer for the biggest disappointment. It's Jordan Walker, and it's such a bummer too, because we saw what was happening before the original injury at the end of May, and that's why these last month and a half has been so frustrating, and it hasn't been something we've talked about too much, but I imagine this last month, anytime Jordan Walker has had to be talked about inside of the offices down in Busch Stadium, just hair being pulled out of scalps.
Well, and they didn't want to send him down. That one of the reasons they wanted to keep him here was because they had his hitting coach here. But he gets hurt, they send him out, and he's a mess again. So they have to keep him, not have to, but they want to keep him down in Springfield to see if maybe he can get fixed there on a rehab stint before he comes back to St. Louis, because they don't want a guy who's just completely messed up coming back to St. Louis until he's a little bit ready. So we're both on board with Jordan Walker being the biggest disappointment.
It has to be.
And Ryan Fernandez was a big disappointment. I expected him to be the 8th inning guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else would be in the discussion of the biggest disappointments, and I'm really having trouble finding somebody.
No, I don't think there is anybody.
I mean, you could argue that like one of the biggest, it's not bigger than Jordan Walker, but could Ivan Herrera developing as a hitter, but also completely undeveloping as a catcher, be one of the more disappointing things from the first half?
I expected that.
Okay.
He has never been at this level, at the major league level. He's never been a good defensive catcher.
Yeah, that's fair. And Hockey Dad Don, I think this is the cruelty of time. Unfortunately, and it pains me to say this, I'm starting to view Jordan Walker the same way I did JD Drew. I think we might be dealing with somebody who kind of fell into the hole that a lot of Cardinals fans fell into around the JD Drew trade time, which was, we need to trade JD Drew. I hate JD Drew. He's a waste of time and space. When they failed to look that JD Drew in his career in St. Louis had a 124 OPS. And in his final year in St. Louis, when everyone was desperate to get rid of him, he had a 2.5 WAR and 132 OPS in just under 300 at bats. That's insane, guys. Like, and he was 27 years old when he did it. The revisionist history of JD Drew, honestly, in the moment by Cardinals fans, I wish I could have been 10 years older, because I would have been in the media and I would have been I would have been furious at Cardinals fans for the JD Drew stuff, because even to this day, it boggles my mind exactly how the narrative behind him. I understand it was availability, and obviously TLR didn't seem like he was a big fan of him, but man, people turned.
It was almost as if people thought that he wanted to be hurt and didn't want to play because he had an aloof personality. But sometimes you can have an aloof personality and still be a reasonably productive player. And when we think about, so he plays just 109 games in 2001, 1.027 OPS, 778 OPS in 2002, 886 in 03. Then he goes to Atlanta, 1.006 OPS in 145 games.
He had an 8.3 WAR that year, which is just that's stupid.
Yeah. And then he goes to the Dodgers first year there, banged up with a 931 OPS. But heck, his career OPS was 873. And he wound up actually being a decent, not a great power hitter, but a decent power hitter. Hit 31 in that 1 year for the Braves. And then that injured year for the Dodgers hit 15, then 20, 11, 19, 24, 22. He was a really talented player. The problem is that he didn't play 140 games a year, and he had an aloof personality. And I think they thought that if he didn't have fire, that he couldn't be good. But when you looked at the numbers, he was pretty darn good. By the way, 6th in the MVP voting in his 1 year in Atlanta in 2004.
That is one of the craziest things, is that, I mean, I wish Jordan Walker was JD Drew. I would kill right now for Jordan Walker to be JD Drew. Yeah. I feel like John Mozeliak would give literal fingers off one of his hands for Jordan Walker to be hitting like JD Drew right now. It would be a completely different outlook right now for the Cardinals if that was true.
Yeah.
Also, considering, let's talk about some other negative Nancy's. Doobie Doo Doo says Cardinals will have to basically go 40-25 to clinch in a wild card. It's not happening. Here's my thing. You say that, so you're saying the Cardinals need to win 91 games to be a wild card. My question to you is, why do you say that when, since the expansion of the wild card, that hasn't been the case? It's always been 88 or 89 wins to get the last wild card spot. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I would just like you just show me the math in the equation, or how you got the numbers together that tells you that this year it's going to be 2 or 3 wins higher than it has been the other previous 3 years we've been doing this third wild card thing. That's all I want to know. Also, there's been a lot of years where there was only 2 wild cards, where 88 wins or 89 wins won you a wild card. There are seasons there where the second wild card won 91 games or 92 games, but I feel like that's the minority of wild card teams since they started doing the second wild card, and it's definitely not the case since the third wild card. So show your work.
I think one of the things that you probably look at as you start the second half is teams like the Padres, who start off with Washington, then they're at Miami, and it's not like they have a completely easy schedule, because the Padres still have to come here. They have to play the Mets at home. They've got to play Boston. They're at San Francisco. But the big thing for them is, in the last month of the season, they go to Colorado for 3, then they get Cincinnati at home, and then they get Colorado at home for 4. So 7 games left against the Rockies, which for most of those teams in the West is going to be 7 wins.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals, I guess they get the Rockies too coming up, but the Padres just, they've got a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way, and the Giants have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way.
This could be Ben says the Rockies in the NL West is why he thinks it's going to be higher than 90 wins to get that third wild card. That's fine. That's again, it's a fair argument. I just think historically, 80, if they win 40 games, they absolutely will be in the wild card, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think it's going to take.
But let's go back to that stat.
Go for it.
Of Sonny Gray and the team being 15-4 in his starts, 36-42 without him, and historically, Sonny Gray is not very good in September.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Are the Cardinals going to be able to overcome what so far has been a lackluster rest of the rotation, which leads me to what I want to see in the second half? I want to see Michael McGreevy. I want to see Michael McGreevy every 5th day, please. I've seen enough of Eric Fetty. Eric Fetty's not only just been with the Cardinals for a year, he's been with the Washington Nationals for a long time.
Yeah,
and has never been great. He's a friendly sort.
So angry about Michael McGreevy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to see Michael McGreevy get an opportunity, because based on the numbers we have, if the Cardinals would go 500 in his remaining starts, that would be an improvement over the rest of the guys.
Did you guys watch and hear that thing in Randy's voice though? Because Randy's voice hit a special tone there. Did you guys hear that thing in his voice? I think I know what it was. I think that was fandom, guy. I think a little fandom eked out of Randy Karraker right there, and we saw the old Usher screaming from the stands about wanting to see a young pitcher light it up for the Cardinals. There was that right there was just pure St. Louis passion about wanting to see McGreevy. And I everyone says you're going to be fine. Randy Samuel Howe says McGreevy will be here in August. Skywalker 1982 in addition says, I don't think Libby can finish the season either. Craig Lewis says Gray has an ERA over 4 in September lifetime. I'm not expecting improvement. To your point, Craig, I'm not expecting him to be better than he was in the first half. I need him to hold serve from what he was in the first half through August and into September. That's the big key.
Yeah. And the Cardinals 5-14 when Eric Fedde starts a game.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that's bad and Michaelis is going to be here. So I want to preface this comment and the statistic with that fact and it is a fact that Michaelis is going to be on this team. And I'm not saying that having him on this team is the best thing, but he's got the contract and he's going to be here. I'm just talking about what reality is. And it might amaze you. The Cardinals are 9-9 when he starts a game.
Okay. So here's something. This is tangible. I do want to talk about this for a second. Skywalker 1982, when he said, I don't think Libby can finish the season either. Here's my question here. So the last time he pitched more than 100 innings was AAA Memphis in 2022. And in addition of it with his St. Louis innings as a reliever, actually started 7 games out of 9 games that year. So he was a starter in 2022. So counting his Memphis and St. Louis innings in 2022, he pitched 149 innings in 2022. Since then, we've had 2023 and 2024 where he pitched combined at Memphis and St. Louis 125 innings and then 86 innings last year. I don't think it's crazy to wonder if Matthew Liberatore has 140 innings in him this year, because while the Cardinals' usual plan is like a 20 or 40 inning ramp up for a pitcher year to year, he did 120 2 years ago and he did 86 last year. So like, I feel like 120 safe. He's at 100 right now. I feel like 120 safe. 140, maybe we are starting to push it a little bit.
He was never a consistent starter though.
And that's so I wonder.
So let's use the eye test with the guy. Let's not just say, okay, he's a robot and he is confined to this amount of innings. I think what you have to do is find out what he is doing and take a look at the way he's performing. Is he throwing high stress innings? Is he injured? And he did have that one little hiccup where there was a little bit of fatigue, but he seems to have worked through that fatigue and he's doing pretty well right now. And if you look at the way that he's performed in July, you'd say, okay, during the course of the season, he has regressed. April and March and April, 3.19 ERA, 2.97 earned run average in May, 5.14 in June, and then only 2 starts, but a high ERA in July. But does an all-star break, does an opportunity to get 5 or 6 or 7 days off benefit him to the point where he can be serviceable into September? I think it's, what are you going to do? If you don't have him, then what are you going to do?
That's a fair point. I do wonder I do think though that could be, we've had a lot of conversations on how do you handle players this year and trying to be careful with them and massaging for the rest of their careers when winning this season isn't as important. And this isn't a conversation we've been talking about with Matthew Liberatore, but now that they bring it up, I do kind of wonder if he hits 140 innings, if they start wondering, do we skip a start here? Do we give him a little extra time?
Yeah, maybe. But Ollie told us last week that one of the most important things about runway in 2025 is seeing how players perform when the game changes in September. That's really important to the Cardinals, to see pitchers and players in September, because the focus is different. The intensity is different. The spotlight is different. And you want to find out, okay, is Matthew Liberatore a guy whose heart rate doesn't go up when the big games occur? And you can't find that out unless you pitch him in those games. So I would be stunned if the Cardinals didn't go down the line with him.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that's fair.
Is they don't have anybody else,
and they don't have anybody else factor is something I was going to highlight here, because prior to him pitching in 20 starts last year and 29 and in 30 games overall, and pitching 121 innings. The year before that, combining St. Louis and Memphis, Andre Pallante pitched just over 80 innings, and he pitched 120 or just over 80 innings, and he pitched 121 last year. Hence the 40 inning uptick. And his career high before that combined was 117 innings, and that had been a year before. So I think if you just look at Andre Pallante and last year, and essentially last year, for the back half of last year becoming a runway season for Andre Pallante, and how important that was for him, they said, yeah, it's going to be 60 more innings than you pitched last year. But this is an important thing for your career. It's important to find out what we have in you. And right now we have one of the few things, and we talked about this with City, we talked about this with St. Louis, when you have the ability to not worry 100% about the results because you're not in the playoffs or going to be a playoff team, it gives you a little flexibility. It gives the player the flexibility to go out there, make mistakes, and more than that, find out how to correct those mistakes in game, especially as a pitcher. And so those factors, I think those are, to your point, extremely important for Matthew Liberatore the rest of the year.
By the way, Liberatore, 6'5" and 215, throws free and easy. It's not like he's throwing max effort on every single pitch. So I'm willing to go down the road with him. By the way, I looked it up as we were talking there. I mentioned the Gray 15-4 and the Fetty 5-14 in their starts. The other three guys, Pallante, Michaelis, and Liberatore, are all 9-9 in their starts. The team is 9-9 when they start. So the factor here that's keeping the Cardinals from being even better is Eric Fetty. And that's why I want to see more of Michael McGreevy in the second half. Okay, the other thing I want to note here, and you asked the question, will Herrera be the second half MVP just like he was in the first? I think if it's not Herrera, I'm going to go with Wilson Contreras. I am going to go with Herrera.
Yeah, and I was talking earlier this week about how big of a deal that Wilson Contreras has been for the Cardinals and his ability to hit, the fact that he's playing good defense at first base, that has been monstrous for him. One other quick point that people are carping at us for missing. Helsley in the disappointment factor.
No, he's got 19 saves, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think people are just pointing out he's matched his season. He already passed his season high last year for blown saves.
I think people expect perfection from closers, and it's very difficult to be perfect.
Yeah, I think last year was a special season, not because he was talented or anything like that, just because you don't see closers pull that off very often, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I would not classify him as a disappointment. His job is to get the 27th out, and more times than not, he's been able to do that. So would I like to see him be perfect again? Yes, but he's not.
In the same tone as you said it earlier, can you read Craig Lewis's tweet for us really quick, or text into the show for us really quick?
I will get to,
He wants them to
free Michael McGreevy.
That's fandom right there, ladies and gentlemen. That scratch in the voice, that's fandom.
That is.
That's passion.
I'm a fan.
I love it.
Today is not the best day to be playing overs and unders. It's not. But we're going to do it anyway from DraftKings Pick 6 because it makes life fun. At DraftKings, the crown is yours. And here's what I need you to do. And it's fun and it's interesting and it's also something that you should just try. It's DraftKings Pick 6. Download the app, DraftKings Pick 6 app, and put it to work for you. It'll change the way that you watch sports. And there is something going on, and that is our friends at DraftKings Pick 6 have some WNBA action for you, and we've got NBA Summer League. So that's what we're going to go. Are you fired up about?
Yes, I'm right now. I'm trying to find any and every Mizzou line that I possibly can. Okay. Tamar Bates, more or less 11.5 points for the Nuggets and the Clippers. We're going to go more on that one. Jack Suonis, the Illinois kid who's been struggling since he got drafted by the Heat. We're going to take him more than 10.5 points. Ryan Kalkbrenner, the St. Louis kid playing for the Charlotte Hornets. Shout out Creighton University. Also, I'll get in trouble. We're going to go more than 10.5 points on Kalkbrenner as well. So that's a good little NBA Summer League start. You get 4X right now. Also, I think this is fun. You could also put in one for pick six on soccer. England's playing Sweden. And as we learned, if you're a St. Louis City fan, those Swedish don't like to score many goals, so go less on them.
Good idea.
Sorry, Olaf, you're a casualty of this read.
Yeah, you are. There's shots fired. Hey, if you're a new customer to DraftKings Pick 6, just play $5 and that'll get you $50 in bonus picks. That's 10 extra picks to keep the action going all week long. Easy to start, easy to follow, and gives you a whole new way to stay connected to the game. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app today. Use that promo code STL Sports when you sign up. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
So we are basically a conduit. We are a representative of the fans. And one thing that I can tell you as a representative of fans when I talk to Eli Drinkwitz is that he's always thinking. He's always coming up with creative ideas for his team and for his sport, college football. And STL Sports Central's Kylee Hansen joins us now from Atlanta, the site of the SEC Media Days. And Eli Drinkwitz spoke to the media today. As a matter of fact, he spoke to Kylee and our STL Sports Central crew. Kylee, good morning. How you doing?
You did. Yes. Hi, guys. How are you? I'm doing well. It's the last day here at SEC Media Days, and Drink just spoke about an hour ago. So, yeah, I mean, it's going well. No complaints.
Good. And what was the highlight of Eli Drinkwitz's media availability?
So we started off at 8 a.m. This was the smaller Mizzou crowd who always covers him, and it was funny because they said that they were talking about the KU rivalry first off, and they said that they actually brought in speakers to talk about the KU rivalry game and how deep this rivalry goes, how just how they need to play well, and they were cussing and they were so excited to get all these people riled up for it. And then they also are, of course, asked about Pribula and Sam Horn. And as of now, Coach Drink said that Sam Horn should be there and that he did get drafted to the Dodgers. And I think it was the 15th round, but that he will still be there and that there's still a battle there for Pribula and Sam Horn. And then they also have the freshman Matt Zollers. And then, yeah, Drink just came up to the main media and spoke about how, you lose Brady, you lose Theo, and most importantly, essentially, you lose Luther Burden. But they also brought in Kevin Coleman and Ahmad Hardy and how they've been connecting well. And Connor Tollison, who's Mizzou's center, he's here. And he said that he's just seen great things from all these players. Zion Young actually also spoke about the defense and how deep they are, and Dalen Carnell, and how they have a bunch of veterans essentially coming back, and it's going to be a good season for them. They were also asked about their 6 home games to start off the season, and they were like, yeah, we're excited. There's really nothing much we can do about it, and then they'll go to Auburn pretty late in October. So yeah, it'll be a fun season, and I think that Drink's excited. He's always a goofy guy though. He's got some things to say.
Yeah, we heard his opening lines, some topical hits from Drink. You talked about both the offense and the defense there, and the thing about Mizzou that's fascinating to me is that everyone's more excited about the offense because that's where all the new names is. But in college football, I think all the discussion needs to be about what side of the ball are all your returning players. And so last year, the defense wasn't the big name side of the ball. Obviously, there's some questions in the defensive backfield, but you brought up a lot of the depth on the defense. What is the feeling around the media right now about the Missouri Tigers defense? Because again, a lot of returning starters, but the big names aren't there. Do people think that this defense can carry a new look offense?
Yeah, and I think that the questions aren't really about the defense, like you're saying, because they have all these names. I think they also have on the offense, they have Caden Green, but yeah, they have like Tristan Newson coming back, who decided that he was going to come back after the Music City Bowl. And they have a lot of names coming back, and they were top 20 last year. And we mentioned that earlier. And I think Zion Young didn't even know that they were top 20 in defense, but yeah, they'll be fine on defense. And then the questions, a lot of people really, the main things that people have been asking is about Pribula. So their defense will be fine. I don't think there's many questions. I think that they'll do well because they have those veterans. And yeah, they're not big names, but it's because they make those plays and no one really questions them. But when you lose Luther Burden and you lose Theo Weiss and you lose Brady Cook, who went out in the Auburn game last year and then came back into play with whatever happened to his ankle, like that poses a lot of questions. So really mostly the talk has been about Bo Pribula and all that. So sorry I spewed off all that information earlier, but yeah, I mean, I was just kind of thinking of everything going on and there's so much. And yeah, I mean, I think the question is mostly about the offense, and people are saying that Mizzou's only going to win about 6.5 games. So I think they'll be fine.
Kylie, it is interesting when you bring that up, because only Texas and Georgia have won more games in the last 2 years than Mizzou has, and Mizzou has done it in the preeminent conference in America. But as you're around all the other media, do you think there is a level of disrespect for what Mizzou has been able to accomplish over the last couple of years? And I get the sense that people aren't really as aware of that statistic as we are here.
Right. And so, yeah, they're coming off 10 double-digit win seasons, which is big for them. But I think that since a lot of the media are, it's a lot of quarterback talk. Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway, all of them are so excited for Texas, and then Garrett Nussmeier with LSU, and how, LSU produces those quarterbacks, and essentially that Mizzou just doesn't have that, essentially, the storyline. So people are kind of saying that, is Mizzou going to go backwards while essentially all these teams are going to go forward next season? But there's not really a negative connotation. I will say that there's not a lot of people who are covering them compared to the amount of people that were covering Texas and the amount of people that were covering Georgia and Texas. There's a few Texas A&M people here, actually. But yeah, I mean, you can tell that the connotation is kind of negative, but Drink he said today, I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I came in here and I used to care what people think, but I don't care anymore. I'm here for my family. I'm here to represent the Mizzou, and that's really all. And I'm here to get my football program doing well. So yeah, I think there is negativity, but Drinkwitz made it very clear he does not care what anyone thinks, and I think he's ready to prove himself this season.
Well, I mean, we've talked really only glowingly about Bo and the expectations for this Mizzou offense with a new quarterback. But to your point, all those other guys were putting up numbers last year. Bo was a backup. He did have some package looks at Penn State, but he's not Arch Manning, and he's not a returning starter. So I understand those questions around him. So I guess my question for you, Kylie, would be: have Mizzou fans maybe gotten a little over their skis? Are we a little bit too excited? And do we need to come down to earth a little bit? Or is everyone else just, crapping on Mizzou because it's the Midwestern team that doesn't belong in the SEC? Should we temper our expectations as Mizzou Hawks?
I am a little worried about, I mean, yeah, I do think
everybody says it.
I do think that we should maybe expect a little less. I don't know if Drink even knows what he has on this offensive side and what Sam Horn is going to do when the Dodgers are like, hey, where are you for spring training or whatever. But yeah, I do think we should tone it down. I don't think we should expect, when people were asking about Bo Pribula's passing game, and he really didn't do much at Penn State. He literally was the backup behind Drew Aller and realized that, hey, maybe I'm not going to be playing here. And people asked Drink, how did you recruit him? And how did you get him here? And he was just saying, that he doesn't even really know. Like, he said he dropped him off at his hotel at the wrong hotel and then repicked him back up, and that Drink didn't show his integrity very well to Bo Pribula, but I don't know how he got him to come here. But yeah, people are really worried about the passing game, and I think it's a valid concern because you really don't know what Bo Pribula can do. And yeah, I do think we need to tone it back. The negativity is fair. I am a Mizzou fan, but I understand the question marks, and there are a lot of questions because you play 6 home games and then you go to Auburn and you have Alabama come in and then you have A&M come in where you freaking got killed at A&M last year. And that was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, I think we do need to maybe expect a little less, but I don't think Drink or these players really care. I think that their defense is going to be a main storyline.
And sure, we can ask the questions about Pribula, and I think that's fair to ask questions, but it's not like there are a ton of teams in the SEC with established Heisman Trophy candidate quarterbacks that are running around, right?
Right.
I mean,
well,
you look, who's Ty Simpson? He's Alabama's quarterback, right?
Alabama. Yeah. And then you have people, I think the main talk is Garrett Nussmeier and how LSU has produced these quarterbacks who have gone from year 1 to year 2, Jane Daniels and Joe Burrow, and they've won the Heisman. And so it's like, is Garrett going to be good enough to win the Heisman, or is Arch Manning really going to be all that? And I think that there's a lot of hype around Arch, and he's carrying himself well, but yeah, that hype is going to be a little nerve-wracking come August. So it'll be interesting, but yeah, I mean, there is all this quarterback talk. Granted, it is a little worrying as Mizzou fans because we have just not seen what Bo Pribula can truly do.
And I love Garrett Nussmeier, but their coach is still Brian Kelly, right? So they aren't winning any national championships under him.
I'm with you on that one, and that's why I'll still to this day I will go to my grave thinking that the quote about Bo Pribula being part Tebow, part Burrow, part Cam Newton, or whatever the heck it was, I will go to my grave thinking that was a Lane Kiffin planted quote, because as soon as we get down to SEC Media Days, everyone's down in the Missouri Tigers passing game, but apparently an SEC coach is saying that kind of quote. That quote was planted, and I believe it was Lane Kiffin, and you know what? Good for him. It was a dirty move, and it 100% worked. Everyone picked up on it. We had the graphic with all three of their faces, and that's probably the reason why Mizzou fans are so excited. But I saw you got some questions out with Zion Young, Connor Tollison, things like that. So some fun questions as well.
I asked the fun questions.
One of the big ones I saw was we got some Love Island fans with the Missouri Tiger Boys, which doesn't surprise me. It's a big show. Are you? I saw you put out a tweet saying that Zion Young is going to be a little surprised about the winner of Love Island, and do you think he's going to be able to take it well that Amaya and everyone came out on top?
That was not Zion, and I honestly forgot who it was. We've seen a million players, but yeah, we asked him on, what do you think of Love Island? And he said that he wants Ace and Shelly to win, but I didn't break the news to him, but Ace and Shelly don't win Love Island, and I don't.
Oh, you gotta spoil it for him right there in the moment. Having that spoiled while they're on camera with the mic in their face. That's what you're there to spoil things for these players. Their lives are too busy, and they can't watch these shows like we can. So our job is to spoil these things for them before they can actually watch it.
Right. And I think, that's true. Another fun question. I asked Connor Tollison, he said that him and Sam Horn have been golfing a lot. And so I asked, well, the main question, who's better? And Connor said that he's better at golf than Sam Horn, which would essentially make sense because Sam Horn probably has a little more to worry about being a dual sport athlete. But it's been fun here for sure.
But at the same time, that answer shocks me because I can think of no one more built to be a great golfer than a backup quarterback / Major League Baseball pitcher. Like, is there anybody better built to be just an elite level golfer than that hybrid of a player?
Only a hockey player.
Only a hockey player is better built. And so Connor Tollison, I have to imagine we got to get into this. We got to get into this golf game because if I had to break this down, something tells me that Tollison is just crazy long off the tee. He gets all that 300 pounds into that torque of the swing, and he just bombs it because I'm something to Sam Horn. He looks like a stick.
But Horn is playing football and baseball. He doesn't have time to practice golf.
That's true. That's a good point.
I don't know. I didn't go that deep into it, but I did ask Connor. I said, "Who's better?" He's like, I'm better. Sam's got me a few times, but I'm better." I was like, "Well."
So Kylie, can you tell us about Drink talking about a 30-team playoff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he is in favor of that. I think that there would be too many games. There's been so many questions going on. I don't think Drink is very happy with Greg Sankey right now. So yeah, I mean, he didn't really. It's not his favorite thing. Hannah asked him about also like NIL and stuff like that, and he said, I got two people on my shoulder, and it's the angel and the devil, and he didn't know which one to be. So he is just always kind of hot-headed. He's a quirky guy, but yeah, I don't think he's in favor of the 30-team playoff. But I guess we'll find out more when the season comes around.
I'm reading these quotes from it. It sounds like he had because this is what Drink does. Was it tongue in cheek? Was he like, no, don't worry, guys. 16 teams is fun, but 30 teams is the way we got to go. I'm reading this partially like he's making fun of the NCAA, both with football and basketball, because they just keep trying to expand the playoffs and the tournaments.
Then there's this part of it that seems to be more legitimate when he says, now you're talking about an opportunity for 30 teams, 30 fan bases to be excited and engaged in giving revenue. You've got 30 teams with players who have access to compete for a championship. So for me, I think that makes a lot more sense. I just think that he's serious about this.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, it is, because it should be 32 teams, just like NCAA Division 2 and 3.
Yeah, he also said that, someone asked him, how does SEC come out on top? And he really, I don't think, liked that one either, because he was like, what, SEC come out on top? What do you mean by that? In viewership, in national championships, like they've had the past 10 years. He was like, you lose 2 years and everyone freaks out. Like SEC is still on top. And that's pretty much the statement that he made. It was pretty funny. He's a quirky guy for sure.
He's a lot of fun. Kylee, great work. Thanks so much for joining us from Atlanta, and we will let you get back to it and enjoy yourself at SEC last media day. Is there anything else going on today?
Kentucky's players are speaking now. We have A&M and Arkansas is going today too. So they saved, of course, the best two teams for last, Arkansas and Mizzou. So what's better than that?
All right. Have fun, and thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Yes. Have a great show.
Thanks, Kylee. Kylee Hansen from right here
they're
at STL Sports Central.
They're really sending a message there with the last 4 teams going today, aren't they?
I think so.
Missouri, A&M, Arkansas, and Kentucky. Yeah. What did Vanderbilt the last team to go yesterday? They're sending some messages with who they're picking for this last day, and I don't appreciate it one bit, Randy. I like to think that Mizzou has kind of made some headway playing in a couple SEC championship games. But then I hear a story of like our fearless leader here, Dave Green's on the phone with somebody down in Alabama, and he's on the phone with him. And he's talking about how we're in St. Louis, and he keeps talking. And he goes, "Well, coming up is the SEC media days, and I know you guys aren't going to focus on that." Dave's like, "No, we talk about Mizzou," and he goes, "Oh, I completely forgot they're in the SEC." So every time I think that we're finally getting the recognition, apparently every good old boy still does not even think about Missouri when they think about the SEC, which really bums me out.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, fine. You convinced me.
Number one, let's just do a little quick Google search. Alabama ranks 42nd for higher education, 43rd for pre-K through 12th grade education in America, 42nd and 43rd. I
was trying to have a fun little like sports.
And maybe the guy that he was talking to was like,
that's me,
22.
No, he was older.
Does he not remember Alabama playing Mizzou in an SEC championship game?
No, he's a good old boy. He doesn't remember when Alabama won.
He was drunk that day.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It was just one of the stories I heard, because like about 5 or 6 years ago, I'd stopped thinking, like, do we still have to prove ourselves to be in the SEC? We'd been in 2 SEC championship games. And then a moment like that happens, and I go, and it just hits me again that apparently we're still not at that level when it comes to people in the SEC.
Well,
but
that's because for them, they probably don't even consider Arkansas part of the SEC. Probably, well, we got Tennessee, and we got our LSU, we got our Ole Miss. That's the SEC right there.
not even Auburn anymore.
No, Auburn doesn't even count.
So the SEC stuff's crazy to me, because like I was there for the first 2 seasons first season of SEC play as when I was actually a student, and you could definitely feel it then. And I haven't been down for a tailgate in the last 6 or 7 years. I need to go down there, but I really had thought we'd cross the threshold. But I guess the big thing is I don't need to go to Mizzou games. I need to start going to away games.
Away games are awesome.
That's the thing I need to start really getting my travel up. Is I need to stop worrying about going to Europe or something like that. I need to start figuring out ways to go to Mobile, Alabama. That's the key. That's how I got to figure out my vacations.
And Mizzou's road schedule this year is not great.
Their schedule is BS this year. The form of it is like not the actual teams they're actually playing. To Kylie's point, we haven't done this yet, guys, but we really could. We could spend 40 minutes talking about how odd Mizzou's schedule is and how it's going to potentially for the better or for worse, completely screw this season up. Like the fact that they open up with 6 straight home games and then have to rattle off back-to-back away game runs. Not great. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a pretty bad schedule build.
11-1 is good. You'll enjoy it.
6 or 7 wins. People at SEC Media Days are talking about Missouri winning 6 or 7 games. Good Lord. I'm over here blissfully thinking 9 or 10.
Yeah, they're going to win 11. 6 or 7 games. I mean, you sweep your non-conference schedule. That's 4 right there, right? You're going to beat South Carolina at home. You Vanderbilt. All due respect to.
So I'm saying I keep looking at it. I don't know how we're. I mean, for them to get to 6, they literally have to lose South Carolina, Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like they have to lose all 5 of those games. And I just don't see them losing all 5 of those games. Even if, and I will accept this, I'm with Kylee, that we probably got a little bit over our skis on Pribula and the new look Missouri offense. Because Ahmad Hardy is a great player, but you never know how running backs are going to transfer. Kevin Coleman's a great player, but there's a reason why in the decision at the time when they were both seniors in high school, there's a reason why Luther Burden was the absolute, he's who we're pushing for, here's who we want. He's the big name, and why Kevin Coleman was number 2 in that class. And so so there are realities. And so I am starting, and that's why I asked Kylie the question. I'm like, man, this is classic Mizzou fan. I actually let myself get excited, and then I very quickly realized that's the mistake. You don't let yourself get excited.
Why?
How dare you fool?
Isn't excitement what sports is all about?
Yeah, but not in my Mizzou fandom. That's when I get excited about Mizzou fandom, I start getting scared.
Here's the thing.
That's when I start getting worried.
Okay, if Pribula was playing for Penn State this year, if Drew Aller had left and they were the number 6 team in the CFP, 6-seeded team in the college football playoff last year, would people feel better about Bo Pribula if he was the quarterback at Penn State than he is at the quarterback at Mizzou?
Yes.
So, see, it's perception.
It's 100% perception. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But there also is a little bit of perception on the Mizzou side of just, we see a guy who can run the ball, who has a lot of athleticism because of his time at Penn State. We say, well, he was a highly recruited quarterback, so obviously he can sling it. And we just kind of put 2 and 2 together and say, this guy's going to be a dual threat quarterback.
Well, here's the thing that other schools, they don't understand, like secret weapons. We know of the history of Brad Smith.
Yes, we do.
And so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at Brad Smith Jr. Well, or are we looking at Cam Newton, Tim Tebow?
Oh, God.
Who was the other one?
Joe Burrow, arm of Joe Burrow.
Yeah, there you go. Arm of Burrow.
The leadership of Tim Tebow, the running ability of Cam Newton, and the arm of Joe Burrow.
There you go.
The most
That's what we're
blatant propaganda. Craig Lewis, as someone who has lived in South Louisiana specifically, there are some really smart folks down here, but since we are considered carpetbagging Yankees, they will never think of us as the SEC.
That's fine.
I know it's a stereotype, but one of my favorite stereotypes is like the person with like the Louisiana Cajun drawl who's talking about like high level like oil science. That's my favorite thing in the world. It's because like you hear the draw and you think the worst of it, but yet that person went to Texas A&M or went to LSU, got a master's in like oil, and has been their entire life has just been those rigs off the coast, and they know every piece of science and they can explain it to you, but it's going to sound awesome at the same time. I don't know why. It's my favorite stereotype.
We'll talk some oil.
Yes, exactly.
Talk some oil.
Yes, if it's like if Ed Orgeron was breaking down like really high level chemical bonds. That's hilarious to me. I can't be the only person.
Yeah, and I do wonder: does the old school SEC, the LSU, the Alabama, the Auburn, the Ole Miss, what do they think of Texas in the SEC? Do they consider Texas a real SEC team?
No,
because they don't know where Texas is. Let's start with that.
But I wonder.
LSU is close to Texas.
I wonder if there's something different for the teams in the old Southwest. I wonder if teams in the old Southwest get a weird kind of like pardon because of kind of like the southern side of things.
So then Oklahoma. What do they think of Oklahoma?
They weren't in the Southwest Conference, were they?
No, they were in the Big.
They were in the Big 8. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So maybe Oklahoma. You know what? Honestly, I have a feeling if you actually broke it down, I have a feeling more people would be bothered by Oklahoma than they would be by Texas or Arkansas, because Arkansas, Arkansas, SMU, Texas at Austin, Texas A&M, TCU, Texas Tech. They were all in the Southwest, and I feel like for some reason this weird like thing where like if you're in the Southwestern Conference, we can kind of lop you off and be okay with you. But yeah, Big 8, Yankee carpetbagger.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll take your money and beat you. That'll be fine. Hey, I got a spot for you to have lunch or dinner today. I had dinner last night at the Fenton Barn Grill. Had a half a dozen of those delicious, tantalizing trash swings. They were absolutely fantastic. And when you go to the Fenton Barn Grill, that's one of the things that you want to do. I was sitting with a guy named Pat who watches the show on a regular basis, friendly sort, and we were talking about John Kelly and the Blues, and he was up in arms. And Pat, I know you're tuned in, and I share your up in armedness. But I was working on my trash swings, which were absolutely incredible. Now, here's a good thing to do. Go with the trash swings as your appetizer. Go with a half a dozen of those, and then get the French dip sandwich, sliced roast beef on a hoagie with au jus, add cheese for just $1.25, and you will have a sandwich that you absolutely can't believe how good it is. It's at the Fenton Barn Grill. They have great salads and wraps. They have absolutely delicious sides, including their homemade chips and their seasoned fries, which are great. And I really like the tater tots over there. And of course, if you want to go with a pasta, they have those too. The baked spaghetti with meat sauce is delicious. You'll have a great time at the Fenton Barn Grill too. I got a chance to see Megan and Jamie yesterday and say hi to them. When you stop by, tell them Randy sent you. They'll take good care of you at the Fenton Barn Grill. Great place to watch sports, great place to talk sports. It is the Dive with a vibe. You can stop by and say hi to the 2024 Maitre d' of the Year, Chuck. He's a great guy. You'll see him there most afternoons at the Fenton Barn Grill, 2 minutes away from the soccer park in Fenton. You can learn more at FentonBarnGrill.com. When you go, tell them Randy sent you.
All right, Randy, you want to do another little game here?
Yeah, let's do a game.
Let's do a little,
Charlie
let's do a little game here. So, yesterday we were taking a look at we were taking a look at college football rivalries because we were talking about college football. Mm-hmm. Today, I've taken a little bit of a turn here. And what we're going to do today, Randy, is I've put together a list of some of the greatest ring-chasing moments in sports history. A player who did not win a championship throughout their career, and then in a place that would shock you. So they did eventually win a ring. So I'm calling this one Who, When, and Where. And so we have, I think I got 16 players here. Okay. 2 different lists, and we're going to break, and I'm going to see if you can remember where this longtime player, after not winning a championship for the longest time, eventually were able to win their title. So on this first one, Gary Payton, Clyde Drexler, Mitch Richmond, Dominic Hasek, Ray Bork, Dallas Drake, Tim Hudson, and Dave Winfield. Like, before we dive into, because I have the answers popping up in order. So are there any out of the gate that you are already any that you're confused by and have to think about? So
I know that Drexler won in Houston. I know that Hasek won in Detroit. I know that Bork won in Colorado. I know that Tim Hudson won with the Giants. Where did Dave Winfield win his? Oh, Toronto. Dave Winfield won in Toronto.
Let's start off from the top. Gary Payton, obviously longtime Seattle Supersonic, did a couple ring chasing runs. Yeah, tried it with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2004 and lost to the Pistons. But then a couple years later would win a championship on the end of a roster. Gary Payton went ring chasing and he finally gets one at the end. The glove. Where did he get that championship?
Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to. Let's see. So 2004, at the end of a bench. Was he with the 2008 Celtics?
He was not. You're getting close, kind of split the middle there.
Okay. So 2007, who won? Oh, he wasn't on. Was he on the Heat team with Shaq?
Right out of the gate. Gary Payton, the 2006 Miami Heat on the end of the Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal bench. That's where Gary Payton, the glove, finally, third team, second real ring chasing opportunity. He got it. You got Clyde Drexler, obviously, all those years with Portland, doesn't win one. He joins back up with his Phi Slamma Jamma teammate Hakeem Olajuwon, and they would go on to bring more championships to the city of Houston. Mitch Richmond from the run DMC days on the Warriors. Pull back. He won one a little bit later on. Who did he win this one with? You had Chris Mullen, Mitch Richmond, and Tim Hardaway. Run DM. Wait, I got it wrong. I got it wrong.
I don't know.
Run DMC is the actual group. Run DMT was Run DMT. Why am I blanking on what the TMC? Run TMC. Right? Yeah. Run TMC. Yes.
Yeah, and he was Mitch.
Yes, Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullen, and Tim Hardaway. I'm like, I had the three players right. I had the nickname wrong. Run TMC. So Mitch Richmond eventually gets away from Run TMC and wins one in the early 2000s.
I think he was with Shaq and Kobe.
It hit the next, 2002 at the very end of the Shaq and Kobe run. Mitch Richmond did eventually get one in there. Dominic Hasek, did you guess this one already?
Red Wings.
Dominic Hasek, he actually wins 2 at the end of his career with the Red Wings after mired in all those problems with the Buffalo Sabres for the majority of his career. Ray Bourque, you got that one. Long time. Boston Bruin has to go to the Avs to finally win his. Dallas Drake, did you get this one?
Did Draker, so he came here. I don't think.
Dallas Drake comes to the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
Doesn't win one here.
He had been with Detroit before, and then he went back to Detroit. Did he win in Detroit?
Dallas Drake hit it. Dallas Drake came back to Detroit the second time and wins with the 08 Red Wings to finally get his deal. You got Tim Hudson correct as well. The Even Year Giants, he was on the 14 version. And then I think you got Dave Winfield at the very end.
Yeah, Toronto, right?
Hit it there. There it is, the 92 Blue Jays for Dave Winfield. Joining those early 90s, we saw a lot of ring chasing in Major League Baseball. And let's go to our second page. We got 8 more here.
Let's do it.
Mark Grace, Bernie Kosar, Priest Holmes, Ted Washington, Darrell Revis, Jeremy Lin. It should be Lynn, not Lim. My apologies. Peja Stojakovic, and Adam Morrison. So a little baseball, a little football. And then I got some basketball here at the end as well. So any names jumping out to you already?
Okay. Mark Grace was the Diamondbacks.
Try to hit that one. Nicely done, Randy Karraker. All those years with the Cubs. Obviously, you're not winning then. One Diamondbacks, he gets it.
Revis, he was one of those transactional guys with the Patriots, right?
You are correct there, yes.
Let's see. Bernie Kosar. So he got cut in 94. Oh, I guess he was the backup. Would he have been the backup to Aikman for the 95 Cowboys?
Hit Wilson. There it is. 93 Cowboys. The backup 93, to Aikman. 93 Cowboys for Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, right. So Kosar. So, Priest Holmes. Who did he go
He's actually
to?
the reverse. Priest Holmes won his and then has his
won
career.
In Baltimore.
There it is. The 2000 Baltimore Ravens is Priest Holmes' only Super Bowl win early in his career. He's actually the flipster.
Okay. Ted Washington played for a lot of teams.
Also had a lot of weight issues for a lot of teams.
Yeah,
Ted Washington would balloon up to about 400 every offseason, come down and have to work about 40 pounds off so he could play around 360 the majority of the NFL season.
Yeah. So he obviously didn't win with Buffalo. He didn't win with the Raiders.
Nor the Browns.
Or the Browns or the Bears. So New England?
Go ahead and hit it twice, because both Ted Washington and Darrell Revis across different decades were New England Patriots. Ted Washington joins the 04 Patriots because in 03 they had Keith Traylor.
Yep.
They cut Keith Traylor, weight issues, signed Ted Washington, weight issues, and they win Super Bowls with both of them. And then Darrell Revis was on the 2014 Patriots. The misspelling here, my apologies. Jeremy Lin, though, is our next one. Lynn Sanity, obviously not a long time pro who won one, but a name that I think a lot of people are surprised to know does have a ring on his fingers.
Is let's see here, trying to think. So he would have been with the Knicks in 12.
This is think less about guessing where Jeremy Lin played and more about just listing teams that have won NBA championships.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to So, but I'm just trying to think of the era in which he played. 13, 14. Did he go to? Nah. He would not have been there. Hold on, I'm going to think he won in Oh, man. Was he Miami also?
He was not Miami. Go ahead and hit it. Jeremy Lin was actually deep on the bench for the 2019 Toronto Raptors.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he'd been passed around pretty quickly.
Around that long, huh?
Yes, it was actually only like his 6th or 7th year in the league. He got passed around pretty quickly. He was a poison pill RFA deal for the Houston Rockets, and then he immediately gets tossed around because he had a terrible contract that everyone just kind of wanted to eat up. And our last two more NBA ones, deeper cuts here.
Yeah,
but Peja Stojakovic was obviously a star on those Sacramento teams that got robbed of ever playing in the finals, but he did eventually win an NBA finals before his career. He won this finals at 33 years old and said, "That's it for America. I'm going to Europe."
Was he a Spur?
Peja Stojakovic. Oh, you're so close, Randy. You're so close.
A Rocket?
No, they haven't won in the last 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Right state, though.
Oh, then Dallas. Yeah.
There it is.
Right.
The 2011 Dallas Mavericks, not the ones that beat LeBron and company. That is the one that took down the Dwayne Wade Heat. Peja Stojakovic, the sharpshooter, was spotting up in the corner off to the side of Dirk Nowitzki in that 11 run for the Mavericks. And this is a fun one because if you are an NBA fan, you will know Adam Morrison because he has one of the funniest times draft nights in the NBA. He has a ridiculous suit. He cries a lot that people make fun of him. And more than anything, he is the first of the kind of 21st century run of Gonzaga players. He's from Spokane, Washington. Obviously you have John Stockton in the 90s. I'm not saying that Gonzaga players weren't a thing before the 2000s, but in the current like rerun of Gonzaga being relevant in college basketball, you can kind of restart it with Adam Morrison coming out that year. So Adam Morrison actually won 2 rings in his NBA career with the same team.
Lakers?
Who did he win those teams with? Hit it right there. He actually did win it with the Kobe Bryant 09 and 10 Lakers. You get Adam Morrison as well. So that is the instance of Megamind minigames. Who, when, and where? And the great players who won championships. I was going to do just like great players where they played like that you don't remember as much, but that everyone does.
Give me one.
Everyone does the Joe Montana with the Chiefs and stuff that. So I was like, I'm gonna find niches of players that were on teams that you never remembered that won championships. But you absolutely knocked that one out of the park. The big thing there is that I didn't get you to even blink on a single one of the baseball ones. You had every single one of those baseball ones. Like it took you just a minute for Dave Winfield, but every single other one you had right out of the gate. I mean, Tim Hudson, you were on top of that one with the Giants. You had every single baseball one, and I thought I'd be able to get you to at least think about a baseball one more than just like for 1 second. But yeah, you cleaned all the baseball ones up really easily. That was impressive.
One time, if you Google this, Dave Winfield got traded for a steak dinner at the end of his career.
Jesus.
So it was right before, I think, the 94 strike, and he got traded either to Cleveland or Minnesota. He's from Minnesota, and he never got a chance to play for his new team. So at the winter meetings, the team said, "What are we going to do about this?" Winfield got traded, and they said, "Well, why don't we just buy you guys dinner?" So he got traded for a steak dinner at the end of his career. It was 1994, and I'll tell you what team he got traded to. A delicious steak dinner. So he gets traded on around the waiver deadline, and the last game was August 10th. And Andy McPhail, I guess he was with the Twins, and he got traded, and so they traded Winfield, and they didn't know if he'd ever start again. So he gets traded for future considerations and winds up, I think it was going to Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland traded for him, didn't play for Cleveland. And so the next year at the winter meetings, they settled the future considerations by having a steak dinner.
That's insane. I actually really kind of love that. Did I miss any big names that as soon as I brought up the topic of guys who won a championship, you kind of don't remember them being on that team? Any big names? Did I forget anybody that if you were brought up the topic, like the Joe Montanas, but won a championship?
Yeah, it's obviously because we know him here in St. Louis, but if you go to most places, I don't think they realize that Chris Long played that year with New England.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah, and that one didn't pop up in my searching because he won with the Eagles as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he won 2.
And so he won 2.
He won 2.
And I was trying to find guys who won one at the end of their career, or like one with a random team that we never think about. Because like that's in like Lex Luthor saying Johnny Unitas was on the Chargers. Yeah. There's a lot more of those really weird ones. They're playing that final season in an odd jersey. But I was trying to find the niche of championships, because there are a lot of those ones. And I think the ones Unitas in a Chargers jersey, Montana in a Chiefs jersey, Allen Iverson in a Grizzlies jersey. Like these are
Rams.
Namath in the Rams jersey. Like these are ones we all think of when we think about players. It's like, oh my God, they played for him. He played for them. Oh my gosh. So that's one of the more fun aspects of sports is, oh my God, he played for them. You won a championship with him. I would not have remembered Tim Hudson, by the way. That was one where I stumbled across that one. I was like, oh, he was on the 2014 Giants. I hated that 2014 Giants team.
Oh, you know what? That let me get you that pitching staff, because I think they called it like the redneck pitching staff or something, because it was all Southern guys in their starting rotation.
Oh, okay. I like that a lot. I love, by the way, I am a sucker. If you have like a group of players in like one position group, or if like you have a bunch of players on one team who are like from one part of town, or like from one state or one college, I am such a sucker for like little nicknames like that. Like the Hogs, I'm a sucker for that. Like if like the city stuff, people are pissy about it, but I don't know why we're not having more fun with just like there being a contingent of like 5 Germans on city. We should be having more fun with nicknames and stuff like that.
Don't go too far with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're just a little bit worried about German nicknames here in post 1942. Maybe that's really the issue. But yes, I love things like this. Like all your pictures are Southern people. Make a joke about it.
Yeah, Madison Bumgarner, North Carolina; Tim Hudson, Alabama; Ryan Vogelsong, Alabama; Matt Cain, Alabama; Jake Peavy, Alabama.
I'm sorry. How did you just the first 4 pitchers? You just went their name and had where they were born off the top of your head?
Yeah. Well, I remembered that. I remembered them being called the Rednecks.
That's sicko stuff right there. That is one of the most sicko things I've ever seen, is somebody staring at the 2014 Giants thing and going Bama, North Carolina, Bama, and then you had to click on Jake Peavy to double check where he was from. But the fact that you got the first 4,
he's got a big ranch in Alabama.
You had the first 4 off the top of your dome. That was more impressive than anything we just did in Megamind Minigames.
So Madison Bumgarner is from a small town in North Carolina. And let me get you the name of the said small town. He was Hickory, North Carolina. And this is another thing.
Hickory's a good one.
It's always fun. In high school, Madison Bumgarner dated a girl named
Madison Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner.
I hate that story so much. Taylor Lautner dated a girl named Taylor Lautner.
That's great.
I think he married Taylor Lautner, in fact.
I think
maybe they just dated. Ichiro, Lex Luthor, you point out a good one. This would have been on there, but the Yankees lost in the ALCS that year. Ichiro and the Yankees was another weird one. Yes, that was one of the first ones that went to my head when I started thinking of this topic, but they lost in the ALCS. That one pissed me off because I really wanted to do that one.
And this happens in hockey a lot.
Okay, thank you. I asked Cam because I was like, I couldn't think of any hockey ones, because I had Ray Bourque and I had Dominic Hasek and I had Dallas Drake, and I could not find or think of any other hockey ones for the most part.
Well, how about Patrick Maroon?
Oh my God, Patrick Maroon. Oh, damn it.
And that obviously was here.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. Yeah, that's a good one.
And there's another
Marion Hossa's one, but he then wins multiple. He wins 3 in Chicago, so it's like he ring chased, but then he settled down pretty well to win some rings.
So did Channy.
Channy's
and so did Hully, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
There were a lot of Blues guys that went prongs, because he couldn't wait to get out of Edmonton, and then he goes to Anaheim and wins. So Prong spent the year in Edmonton, but it seems like there's more. Like there were a lot of guys on those Red Wings teams.
I did find to your point. I did find a lot of guys who were on the Red Wings. I had already used Dallas Drake and Hasek, so I didn't want to keep using them. To that point, there are also a bunch of people on. There's like another 2 guys other than Gary Payton on that 06 Heat team. Like that 06 Heat team also had a couple of old players who were jumping. I guess this is actually fair. I never really thought of him before as this one. But no, he won multiple cups in Montreal. Patrick Waugh didn't he? He won 2 in Montreal and 2 in Colorado, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so he didn't do that. Okay, because I always forget that his first half of his season is is as a Canadian, but I'm like, they won 2 in
We were
Montreal.
hoping that Ryan Miller would do that here.
Oh,
Happy
God.
birthday, Ryan Miller.
Oh, his birthday today?
Yeah,
God,
45.
that one sucked.
Yeah.
That one, I wanted that one so badly, and it did not work very well. Yeah, that one hurts.
So I'm just trying to think there. It seems like there was another Jersey. Lamorello didn't pick up a lot of guys that were kind of hunting.
There was somebody on the Devils that I found their list. Is the thing is because the Devils win multiple, and so he won a bunch, but he was always a Devil.
Yeah.
But he didn't win until his last. He was like a Devil for like 20 years, and he just wins 2 in the last like 6 years.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, that doesn't really fit my criteria as much.
No.
But anyhow, you absolutely breezed through that. I shouldn't be surprised at all. But you did. You breezed right through it. And tomorrow we will not have any Megamind mini games because we're going to have multiple interviews hopefully tomorrow. As
what do we got?
We'll have Bernie Miklas as always on Friday, and it's looking like we might be talking to Lutz Pfannenstiel tomorrow from St. Louis City SC, which I'm kind of happy about because they made a move today. Not a big move, but Yasiel Orozco, who has started the last 2 games at left back as a short-term loan call from City 2. He, according to sources from Tom Bogert, is being signed to the first-team deal from St. Louis City SC, the 21-year-old. So congratulations to him. He is a guy who made his MLS debut at 17 and then almost never saw the MLS field after that. Never really was able to break back through the first team, got moved out of RSL, came to St. Louis a few years later, and now through 2 games with St. Louis has looks like he's punched his ticket again to be an MLS player. So congratulations to Yasiel Orozco, and St. Louis City keeps making moves, and
very nice.
Hopefully we'll have Lutz on to talk about it tomorrow.
Like that a lot. Also, we were talking earlier about the Cardinals and their pursuit of a playoff spot down the stretch. And right now the Cardinals in Major League Baseball have the 19th toughest schedule remaining.
Eesh, I didn't want to hear that.
The Giants have an easier schedule. The Padres have an easier schedule. The Cubs have an easier schedule. And just a little bit off from the Cardinals, a little bit more. Cardinals are at 496. Philly is at a 496 winning percentage for their remaining schedule, and Arizona is at 498. So a lot of similarities. And the Cardinals, this will be a big series because if somebody sweeps this series, either the Cardinals or the Diamondbacks do, then I think that team can say, okay, yeah, this is our year. And Bob Nightingale said that the Diamondbacks are going to they're going to bail, that they're going to probably trade Gallen, Suarez, and Naylor, all 3 of them.
What do you want the Cardinals to be in on those deals?
Gallen. Yep, I'll take Gallen. And I would give up a young pitcher for Gallen, not one of their top guys. I'll tell you who I would give up now. And it might be a roll of the dice, but I don't care. I'll trade Roby.
I thought you were going to actually throw out like a real name. This was going to be a real conversation.
Stuff. I mean, around baseball, his stuff is really revered. People around baseball like his ability, but the question is he going to be available? Is the availability going to be there for Tekoa Roby? But there's
when you said Robe, I did not. For some reason, I thought you were making a nickname of Sem Robersay.
Oh no!
And I was like, Randy, no, what are you talking about?
No,
he's got like a 70 ERA in AAA this year. I was like, what are you doing right now? I thought you were talking about Sem Robersay, or however the hell we're supposed to say his name.
Here's the thing: I want that 72 hours to negotiate with Gallen to see if he'll sign an extension here.
Okay, it probably doesn't matter, but he's pretty much every underlying number for him this year is the worst of his career.
Yep, that's fine,
including things that aren't affected by him being on. If they were, like not a good team. So like, why are you confident that he would be worth it?
He's going to turn 30 in a couple of weeks, and he's a 3-time top 10 Cy Young Award guy. He's got really good stuff, and he knows how to pitch, and he's pitched in the World Series. And you just don't find those guys. And you can look all you want at underlying numbers, but if a guy can pitch, a guy can pitch.
Neilio mentions it, but also Garrett Cox here sends in a super chat. So we're going to get to this. Randy and company, Joplin Cards fan here. I highly enjoy listening to all of you talk cards baseball. Now, thoughts on trading Winn? Bernie mentioned it. Now, I assume Bernie, because I didn't dive specifically into this note from Bernie. This will be something that I catch up on today as we prepare for Bernie tomorrow. But I assume that a huge chunk of this is the depth coming up from the Cardinals in their middle infield. And so Bernie's saying what we were saying yesterday, trade from a position of strength. Bernie's choosing to trade from the absolute height of it, whereas we were choosing to trade from the middle of it. And I think that is a completely fine, logical way that a sports team should act if they can get the right deal. But I just question whether or not you can get the right deal for what Mason Winn provides you. And that's my thoughts on it.
And I think that we get so enamored of the youth with the Cardinals and with any team. There's a couple of things here. Number one, this is not a teardown. This team is actually, well, they're only a game and a half out of the wild card. So in my opinion, this is a team that should not be trying to get younger. They should be trying to get better. And you know what Mason Winn is. You know that he is a capable Major League Baseball player. We don't know about J.J. Weatherholt. Do we hope that he winds up being great? Yeah, we hoped that Colby Rasmus would wind up being great. We hope that Todd Zeal would wind up being great. We talked earlier in the show about J.D. Drew. The Cardinals have had a lot of guys going all the way back to Hector Cruz in the 70s that they thought were going to be great at the major league level, that were great at the minor league level, that never wound up being great here. Jim Lindemann, big slugger that was supposed to take over for Jack Clark, never worked out. So I would be wary of trading the guys who have already done it at the major league level and counting on guys that have not.
And Garrett also mentions the back issue scares him with Mason Winn.
He didn't have that long. How long has he had it?
About a week back.
Yeah, there you go.
And those are all variables. And I think, though, less of looking at is as what are the problems with Winn, why you would trade him. I think you have to look at it simply of, can you, or is it smart to trade from the absolute top of your depth, or as opposed to the middle? That's the entire discussion. Is the trades that me and Randy were talking about yesterday. You give away something a lot less, but you're going to get a lot less. Bernie's saying swing for the fences because this is the only part of the team where you can swing for. Logically, I completely understand where Bernie's coming from. And here's the other thing:
what is do you might know what he wants?
No, I'm going to dive into it and find out. And we're going to ask him tomorrow. But you have, because here's the thing: is while it might not be what happens, it might not be the smartest decision in your opinion. I think it would be ignorant to act like that discussion has not at least been put out in the hypothetical by people inside the room, because they have to be having all these conversations. Because when a player shows talent and his value is at the highest it possibly could ever be, when you balance talent and age and position, you have to think about what we could get for a player like this. You have to think of, could we get something more than what this player might give us in totality, and then factor in things like the back injury, factor in positional importance. All these things matter. To your point, do not get connected just to the name of it all. Be when you have these discussions, be completely rational. Be like Doug Armstrong.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, a player, when these discussions is a stat line and a contract number. And don't get caught up in anything else around that if you want to have the purely logical look at it.
So here's the thing. You can trade Winn and have an infield and find a way to move Arenado too. So you could have an infield of Gorman, Weatherholt, Donovan, Contreras. And then in the outfield, you could have Burleson, Scott, Church.
Man, you're going from 3 platinum glove level defenders in 2024 to 0 in 2026.
But I've got a lot of left-handed hitting.
Got a lot of left-handed hitting, but literally platinum. A year ago, we had a platinum glove at third base, platinum glove at first base, and platinum glove level talent at shortstop. And your theory right now is none of that. 0. No. Zilch of that left in the infield 2 years later.
And I want to have a lineup of Ivan Herrera and then 8 lefty hitters. No, Herrera and Contreras and 7 lefty hitters.
But Herrera's in the outfield, as Samuel Howe points out. Herrera's your left fielder, though, right?
There we go. Now you got Pajes, so okay.
I also like Mike Gray's point here. Let's compound the mistake of trading Gallen away in the first place by trading for him in his decline.
And see, that's the
that's a fantastic chat.
Yeah,
nicely done.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he is finished at the age of 29. I know a lot of people think that 29, you can never come back and you can't have a bad year because that defines you. I'm not so sure that this guy is going to be defined by one bad year when he's had so many good ones.
Yes, he did have a sub 1 whip in 31 starts with a 2.50 ERA in 2022. Finished fifth in the Cy Young voting for a team that finished with 74 wins. So we know
and what did he do in
he has that level.
2023,
the very next year. Finished third in the Cy Young voting, 23rd in MVP voting, was an all-star. His whip did climb to 1.1, but he did put out a 3.47 ERA in 34 game starts. His ERA plus in 2022, his best year, 158. His ERA plus in 2023, 126. Also in Miami and Arizona, he had ERA seasons of 155, 164.
Yeah.
So he has had down years, and here's the other thing: he had a down year in 2021. In his first time really starting, he kind of fell off from that 12 start phenom in 2020, falls down in 2021, and then has his best season of his career a year later. So
who on the Cardinals right now has shown the propensity to be a number one quality starter? Who in the Cardinal system? Has shown the propensity to be a number one quality starter?
I guess you would argue that Quinn Matthews hasn't because he hasn't had the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm out. I got no one.
So at least Gallen's done it. It's and I'm not saying that I'm not trading Weatherholt for him, but who else? You can go get Alcantara. I think Alcantara will cost more than Gallen. Of course, he's got control also. So I'm just saying that at least you have a guy that has a chance, which is more than what you got now.
You saying they don't have a chance right now?
You don't a chance to be a number one starter. I don't think that they have a guy in their system right now. Well, no, I should
within
say
the next 3 months.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. So and a guy that you could use next year. So we'll see.
And hey,
I don't think they'll do it, but I would trade for him. I would.
A big part of today has been talking about how Randy wants Michael McGreevy. Just go back and listen to yesterday when we laid out the plan for 2026. Michael McGreevy starts out of training camp in the rotation. Quinn Matthews joins the rotation because of an injury or because of his own just incredible pitching around June, July. And then Liam Doyle is your September call-up. So don't worry, guys. This time next year, we're talking about all these young pitchers. Everything's hunky-dory, sunshine and lollipops. No need to be worried unless you care about infield defense, apparently.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, apparently not. You're trading away all the good defenders, and you're okay with it.
Yeah. By the way, today on the TV show, we had Adam Wainwright, and I asked him, I said, so how close was Max Scherzer to becoming a Cardinal?
This isn't gonna piss off Cardinals fans at all, is it? This answer?
Oh, I think it might.
Oh, okay.
So he's real close because they were working in conjunction with each other. Waino was pursuing and was kind of the conduit between Scherzer and the Cardinals. And he said it came down to $10 million over 7 years.
So $10 million each of those 7 years, right? That's a lot of money. No.
$10 million over 7 years.
$70 million is a lot of money.
It's not 70, it's $10 million.
Like $10 million a year.
$10 million total.
$10 million total.
Over 7 years.
Over 7 years.
Yeah.
So like...
Yeah, 10 million, like is that 1.3 million a year?
I'm gonna find out exactly what it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's 1.3, but I'm gonna make it be very dramatic. So that's 1.428.
$1.5 million a year for 7 years. And Waino says, and you can find it at Matrix Midwest on the app or at matrixmidwest.com. You can see the interview. But Waino thinks they would have won a couple more World Series if they would have made that move.
So for $1.4 million
a year.
More per year, they could have had Max Scherzer. Mm-hmm. But the good thing is that they took that $1.4 million that they didn't spend on Max Scherzer and they reinvested it inside of the organization by hiring a lot of young up-and-coming coaches for the minor leagues that built the team that way.
No, that did not happen, Matthew. I'm sorry. That was what we would have thought would have happened because
minor league coaches would have cost a lot more than $1.4 million, right?
Yeah. So no, what they did instead was they made a big investment in Carlos Martinez.
That wasn't
because you had a staff at that time
of
smart Martinez and Waino was on that staff, but he got hurt at the beginning of the year. But it was Lynn, Martinez, Waka. Who am I leaving out here? Oh, Lackey, John Lackey was on that staff. Who Then Martinez walks. Oh, Jaime Garcia.
$1.5 million a year extra to not only get the most talented pitcher, one of the most talented pitchers to ever throw the ball currently in the game, but also he happens to also be from the area where you play your games.
Oh, he wanted to play here.
He wanted to play here and is arguably one of the most talented people to ever step foot inside the state of Missouri.
Right.
And yet you couldn't pony up an extra $1.4 million for him?
Wasn't me. It was them.
I'm gonna reserve the right to be pretty annoyed by that one for a while.
That rotation, by the way, was, let me just make sure I got it right.
That one's gonna bother me for a little bit.
Yeah. Lackey, Waka Martinez, Lynn Garcia. And remember, Wayno got hurt in April of that year. He tore the Achilles coming out of the batter's box in Milwaukee. But yeah, that was your crew, and you could have added Max Scherzer to that group.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I try to tell people, be logical, understand that there were other circumstances that we're not aware of that affect this decision, and therefore we can't just jump to conclusions. Jump to conclusions on this one, people. Speculate wildly, react fervently. This one, it's okay if this one pisses you off.
And here's
this is pretty bad.
And I understand they had
even hindsight 2020. This is pretty bad. It was pretty bad in the moment. Just got worse.
Yeah, right, because he was a Cy Young winner. But that being said, you had that rotation there. Taveras had died and you traded for Hayward, but this is a reason that you should have signed him, because you traded Shelby Miller in the Hayward deal. So you needed more starting pitching depth, but they were comfortable with Wainwright because he wasn't hurt yet, and those 5 starters that I just listed. But Scherzer was a number one who would have stayed here, not for necessarily a bargain, but for below market value. So you can watch it. You can watch the interview on Matrix Midwest. A great show today. It was fun. Kylee Hansen, you can watch it again on STL Sports Central. Don't forget, you can always subscribe to our newsletter, which is always fun to see. Bernie stuff is there. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, which is awesome, and then follow us on social at STL Sports Central.
Can we do Happy St. Louis history next time? Because
tomorrow
all we've done this week is sad St. Louis history.
We'll do some sunshine lollipops. How about this? We'll whet your appetite. Okay.
All right.
Would you trade Eddie Kennison and Tony Banks for Marshall Falk?
Yes. Okay. Here we go. Yes. Now we're talking about some good things. Okay.
Whets your appetite.
All right. There we go.
Would you trade Jerome Bettis for Lawrence? Oh, sorry.
Damn it. We had one good one and then immediately.
I got another good one.
Would you trade up in the draft for a 5'6", 175-pound running back wide receiver hybrid?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
This could be Ben. Is there Happy St. Louis history?
Here's why I would do that. Because my vice president of football operations said, well, we don't need Danny Amendola.
No.
We can get this guy.
Well, I mean, when you have an offensive genius like Brian Schottenheimer, you just got to get him weapons.
Well, and the other part of this is you really had to have that guy, because later in the draft, you would have been stuck with DeAndre Hopkins.
Damn it. Yes, this could be Ben.
Okay, let's all take a deep breath here and remember, they were trying to lose.
I know.
Keep that in mind.
It doesn't help me at all. Somehow that doesn't help.
Yep. Great job by Matthew Rocchio. Great job by Wilson getting us on the air. Wilson's tired today.
We're going to talk about Happy St. Louis history tomorrow. I promise. We're going to find some, I think.
Oh, yeah. I can give you some happy.
Broglio for Brock. Tomorrow's we're just going to have Bernie tell us about Broglio for Brock.
We can do Steve Carlton for Rick White.
Nope. That's
okay. I got one for you.
The incredible career of Pete Vukovich here.
It was good. He was good here.
Did it get better anywhere else?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It did. So, well, yeah, I'm going to come up with a happy trade from every single team every Big Four team that ever played here.
Okay. You got one for the Browns too?
Yeah, I'll come up with a happy trade for the Browns.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
There's that time where the Hawks didn't get Bill Russell.
There was that. Yeah. So that's coming up on tomorrow's Randy Karraker show. Thanks for joining us here on STL Sports Central. Brought to you by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Don't forget, for a great meal, head on over to the Fenton Bar and Grill, Rudder Road in Fenton. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. Tell them Randy sent you. We'll see you tomorrow.